Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video of Fox Reacts. Today we're checking out an old vid from Wikizilla, the anime Godzilla timeline of the Planet Godzilla series, or Godzilla Earth, as many would probably call it. Now, before we begin this, I would like to give a thanks to the recommendation and to check out these videos from Andrea Melares. I'm so sorry if I butchered that pronunciation. I am not good with names. But anyway, let's hop in and check these videos out to see just how Wikizilla explains the Godzilla timeline. Animated.
In this video, we'll be laying out the timeline of the anime Godzilla universe in detail. All of this is directly taken from the prequel novel Godzilla Monster Apocalypse, the theater program, and the investigation report provided on Godzilla-anime.com. Without further ado, let's commence.
Let's start this.
Kamacuras, the first confirmed giant monster, appeared in Manhattan on May 4th, 1999, and proceeded to destroy the World Trade Center and devastate much of the city. At the same time, Kamacuras larvae appeared in the subway system under New York and preyed on people. Because Kamacuras appeared in a densely populated area, the military response was delayed, resulting in an estimated 2.5 million casualties. Kamacuras was finally destroyed near Portsmouth, New Hampshire, 72 hours after making landfall using bunker buster bombs. Dogora was the second kaiju to appear. It first made contact with the Russian space station Mir in the atmosphere, then appeared over the English capital of London in September of 2002.
Okay, that's
Dogora absorbed thermal energy from the attacks of the British military and moved on to Manchester. Dogora was eventually defeated when chemical plants throughout the United Kingdom and European Union mass-produced chemicals containing active ingredients from spider venom and sprayed them into the air. By the time Dogora was defeated after 2 days, major landmarks such as the Tower of London and Big Ben were destroyed and an estimated 3.9 million people were wounded or killed.
Damn.
Camoebas appeared in the Philippines just 2 days after Dogora's defeat. Another one, designated Camoebas II, later appeared in Guam. Anguirus appeared from the frozen soil of Siberia, while Rodan emerged from Paektu Mountain in November of 2005. Both monsters converged in Beijing and attacked the city, which the Chinese military responded to by commencing Operation Hedora. Discovered inside a waste mine in Hebei in 1999 as a colony of sludge-like microorganisms that consumed chemical substances in the water, the creature was subsequently studied and converted into a bioweapon. Reconfigured into a giant black, mist-like figure with red and yellow eyes, Hedora successfully killed the two monsters, but went out of control and proceeded to destroy Beijing and Tianjin overnight, then disappeared after consuming all of the pollutants in the area. The ordeal resulted in damage throughout the Hebei province and an estimated 8.2 million casualties.
Oh boy.
A year later, a second Anguirus, known as Anguirus II, appeared in South Africa. In February of 2012, the 10-meter-tall monster Gabora was discovered by Albert Ichiro Santos in the Amazon rainforest. The ugly monster slaughtered and tortured wildlife such as crocodiles. It was reported to have been injured in a thermite explosion and then fell into a river, where it was eaten by crocs and piranhas. Also in 2012, Megalon emerged on the west coast of Africa and made his way across the continent, destroying several small nations along the way. Some northern Africans subsequently escaped to Europe, though in the second half of the 2010s, the kraken-like monster Godzilla appeared in the Mediterranean and hindered refugee movement into Europe. Near this time, countries around the world began fighting back against monsters, with at least the USS Saratoga killing Ibera 3 in 2015. Dogora first appeared in late November 2017.
Oh, wait, I could have just made a joke of hey, who's up for a crab bake? Oh, damn it, I could have made that joke. Huh, this is an interesting one. Dogora.
And made contact with the American nuclear submarine Seawolf in the South Pacific Ocean. 2 weeks later, the US Navy, including the USS Saratoga, engaged Dogora in American Samoa and successfully injured him, but could not pursue him due to the presence of barium in the water. 3 days later, barium arrived at the port of Pago Pago, and eventually caused 1/3 of its inhabitants to die of bacterial infection. 2 weeks after that, on Christmas Day, Dogora approached Australia, but the Australian Navy did not attack out of fear of releasing barium into Australian waters. Dogora made landfall in Sydney and devastated the city before moving on to Newcastle. The government was thrown into chaos, and in the confusion gave the ill-advised order to attack Dogora. Dogora was fatally wounded and flew out to sea, where it died and contaminated the surrounding waters with huge numbers of barium. This led to a pandemic and famine later known as the Red Christmas Scourge, which by 2018 claimed the lives of 3 million people. Australia's waters became heavily polluted by the Baron, and it received no foreign aid and eventually collapsed. An estimated 6.7 million people were killed or wounded in Dagara's attack. A flock of griffin attacked Egypt in June of 2021, resulting in the fall of the capital city of Cairo. Failure to eradicate the early griffins resulted in large numbers of them later on. Next year, Megalon returned and destroyed the Republic of South Africa. The population of the African continent was cut in half, with between 300 to 400 million people fleeing and seeking refuge in Europe or the Middle East.
So the point out is that these are just all the minor kaijus. We haven't even gotten any of the... Okay, we did get one of the big names. I forgot. We got Rodan over in Beijing. I forgot about that for one, but wow. Nearly all of this is the minor kaijus. Just damn.
On May 11th, Orca landed at Izmir, Turkey, the site of the largest refugee camp for those who fled from Africa to Turkey. The military response was delayed, and the creature reached Ankara before it was finally destroyed. Officially, only 1.15 million casualties were reported from the attack. However, the death toll likely exceeded 10 million if refugee deaths were taken into account.
Oh, hold on, folks. And we're back with the destruction of Earth.
That same year, Manta appeared in the Atlantic Ocean, which remained under his control for over a decade. 2 years later, Maguma attacked North Korea. As the creature moved towards Seoul, South Korea, the United States launched a tactical nuclear missile at Maguma, killing it and marking the first use of a nuclear weapon against a kaiju. Throughout the 2020s, the giant octopus was regularly sinking ships in the Pacific Ocean, while the Atlantic Ocean continued to be menaced by Manta, Gezora, and Ganymedes. Starting in the second half of 2030, far more ships began to disappear than the normal amount that the giant octopus would claim, including a nuclear submarine. Additionally, Kamoeba's 4 washed ashore dead on Oru Island. Dr. Kyohei Yamane proposed that it was killed by an even larger predator, which he gave the name Godzilla after a mythological dragon from the island's folklore. Later in the year, Godzilla made landfall in Los Angeles, where he simultaneously killed Anguirus 4, Varan 2, and Baragon 2. Godzilla completely destroyed LA and San Francisco and caused an estimated 8.7 million casualties before returning to sea. Godzilla relanded in the west coast of the US in December of 2031, destroying Seattle and easily breaking through the military defense line at Colorado Springs. In desperation, the US government hurled 150 nuclear warheads at Godzilla, totaling at nearly 40 megatons of power. Godzilla walked away from it unscathed and disappeared into the Gulf of Mexico.
Nuke.
The presence of Kumonga and multiple Kanakuras in the US was reported in the wake of Godzilla's raid. By this point, the world population has dwindled down to an estimated 2.3 billion, from about 7 billion in the race's heyday.
Okay, that was kind of cool.
In 2034, Godzilla destroyed most of Western Europe, causing 6 million casualties as he moved across the continent. Godzilla disappeared for 8 years after heading into the Arctic Ocean. Next year, the EXIF aliens made first contact with humanity, appearing in New York. The year after, Bilo Saludo aliens arrived on Earth, appearing above London. In the same year, Megaguirus and flocks of Rodan were reported to have regularly preyed on refugees in Siberia trying to leave in the railways. In 2039, the Earth Union, composed of humanity, the EXIF, and the Bilo Saludo, was formed. New anti-kaiju mechs and superweapons such as powered suits, anti-nuclear energy bacteria, and Jaguar J were constructed with Bilo Saludo aid and began being used against giant monsters.
That's a good step.
G-Force launched Operation Eternal Light in order to reclaim the Atlantic from the kaiju. The underwater battleship known as the Goten, under the command of Captain Jigunji and Umberto Mori, engaged Manda in the Strait of Dover and successfully killed him. G-Force engaged Biolante in Normandy, with the underground combat vehicle Magara eventually destroying Biolante by burrowing into the nucleus in her root cavity. In October of 2039, the French military claimed to have killed Godzilla after bringing down a bipedal kaiju with back fins and a long tail. The kaiju was quickly identified as a different species dubbed Zilla, and it turned out that the creature race sexually reproduced countless offspring, which overran the city of Ron. After great difficulty, G-Force eventually succeeded in wiping out the Zillas, which, while frail and susceptible to conventional weapons, had fertility as a strength. Meanwhile in Paris, Gorosaurus appeared following Godzilla's attack on the city. He was killed in December by the
Borosaurus.
combined efforts of G-Force and the Beelu Saludo.
Hmm.
Godzilla re-emerged in 2042.
Oh, he's
in the
back.
same year, the Provisional World Government was moved near Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and construction began on the two
really?
interstellar immigration vessels, Horatio and Aratra.
Oh.
Godzilla is estimated to have caused upwards of 300 million casualties worldwide by 2044, as he appeared 8 separate times in 2 years.
Oh,
by now,
boy.
only about 1.02 billion people were left. In 2045, the United Earth launched Operation Great Wall, a desperate attempt to stop
Great
Godzilla.
Wall?
2,000 nuclear warheads are detonated near the Himalayas, opening a large fault that trapped Godzilla underground. However, by January
not a bad
2046, Godzilla used his atomic breath to free himself. Soon, he broke through the Indian defense line, resulting in 200 million casualties, and then disappeared into the Bay of Bengal. Meanwhile, humanity and the Beelu
just be honest,
Saludo began
humanity's
construction of
fucked.
Mechagodzilla, the ultimate anti-Godzilla weapon, in Hamamatsu, Japan. Godzilla arrived in Hamamatsu in March, and engaged in a decisive final battle with the United Earth. Godzilla is triumphant, and Mechagodzilla is abandoned before it could be activated. In 2048, 15,000 of the 700 million humans still living on Earth were selected by the United Earth's artificial intelligence, Omnielectio, to flee the planet aboard 2 interstellar immigration crafts, the Horatio and Aratrum.
Yeah, to be honest, when shit like this happens and the world is just completely overrun with kaijus, the best solution is just to get the fuck out of there. Like in Baldi's Basics, when you collect all 6 notebooks, listen to what the announcer says and get the fuck out of there!
Horatio set off to carry 10,000 passengers to Kepler 452, while the Aratrum carried 5,000 passengers to Tau Ceti E. After 22 years of space travel, the Aratrum arrives at Tau Ceti E, but finds its atmosphere to be completely uninhabitable for humans. Captain Haruo Sakaki and a faction dubbed the Earth Returnists seize political control aboard the ship and decide to use the ship's experimental hyperdrives to instantaneously return to Earth and attempt to defeat Godzilla using Haruo's Godzilla extermination strategy.
Not a good
The
idea.
Aratrum emerges from hyperspace, but due to time dilation, nearly—
And I don't mean in the whole going back to it, I mean using the hyperdrive, because if you look down here,
20,000 years have passed on Earth.
Yep, it's now been 20,000 years since humanity left, and if you know what that means, you know that humanity is no longer anywhere close to the top.
Haruo and his team land on the planet's surface, but find that a new ecosystem has developed around Godzilla. That's where part 1 leaves us off, and that's the timeline of the Godzilla anime universe. Thanks for watching.
Alright folks, so that is where we're going to end off today's video. But hey, I bet some of you are out there thinking, but what about part 2? That one will be up Monday. So, until then, this has been Fox Reacts 2. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Down in the description will be a link to the original video, so remember to support the original creators and all they do. And I'll see all of you folks next time. Peace out.